सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव। ओम गुरुदेव भगवान शिव शंकर भोलेनाथ गिराजपति महाराज की जय। भगवान व्यास जी महाराज की जय। शंकराचार्य भगवान की जय। स्वामी चिन्मयानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी दयानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी प्रबुद्धानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी शुद्धानंद भगवान की जय। साध्वी आनंद ज्योति जी की जय हो। माता पिता की जय हो। सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय हो। सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम श्री कृष्णाय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता chapter 4 and we are deeply looking into verse number 18. कर्मण्य कर्म यः पश्येत् कर्माणि च कर्म यः स बुद्धिमान् मनुष्येषु स युक्तः कृत्सन् कर्म कृत। Wise person is one who sees actionlessness in action and action in actionlessness. He is a wise person among all human beings. That person is a yogi and who has done everything that is to be done. In this, we have made a point that the one who sees action, who sees karma in a karma and a karma in a karma is sannyasi. Once self-knowledge is gained, the job of the wise person is over and there is nothing left. He has been used up. It has been used up. The will useful only until moksha, just as one's checkbook is useful until there is a bank and bank balance. So the one who has gained self-knowledge doesn't have any karma left behind. The person is kritsan karma krit. Having gained moksha, the person has nothing more to do. This is what we have seen till now. But here the point is, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji in his commentary says there are various objections and the Purva Mimamsakas Who are Purva? Mimamsaka is the analysis of the sentences of Veda. The one who analyzes the sentence, the process of analyzing is called Mimamsaka. Mimamsa. And there are Purva Mimamsaka and Siddhantis. Siddhantis are the people who follow the Vedas as it is, as they say. And Purva Mimamsaka put objection to it. Purva Mimamsaka, Purva. So they have a point of objection. The objection is according to the Purva Mimamsaka, all sentences of Veda deal primarily with the action and therefore do not really convey anything that is already there. It should be clearly understood that the sentences throughout the Veda can be taken as commands in terms of what is to be done, Vedic Vakya, or what is not to be done, Nishedh Vakya. Any sentence that reveals the nature of an object is connected to or subserves either Vedic Vakya or Nishedha Vakya. The analysis of Karma Mimamsa is very important because the orientation of any human mind, even the mind of those who are lazy, is towards karma, action. A person who is lazy is bothered because of the action that he or she does not perform. Thus, both the activity and the lazy are oriented towards karma alone. Now, everybody is oriented towards karma. That there is something to be done is the truth about everyone. It is understood that everyone has to do some or the other karma alone. For Purva Mimamsaka, then moksha can only be gained by performing Nitya Naimitik Karma. Nitya karmas are daily rituals that one has to perform daily and regularly on certain days. Naimitik karmas are those karmas that have to be done occasionally at the time of eclipse or at the time of some important ceremony like birth, marriage. They are Naimitik karma. And these Nitya Naimitik karma are to be done by everyone. Moksha, according to the Purva Pakshi, Purva Mimamsakas, also involves not doing any Kamya karma, the action done for a specific desirable result. One must do only those actions which are duties. The idea here is to avoid both punyas and papas. By not planning or performing any kamya karma, punya is avoided, and by not doing what is not to be done, papa is avoided. In this way, the prarabdha karma that brought this body into being will exhaust itself without your needing to do anything about it. The capital will be lost and the body will die. Having avoided all punya and papa, there will be no new karmas for you and therefore no cause for new birth. All you have to do is keep eating daily and do all your nitya naimetik karma. This is how Purva Pakshi is thinking. Their thinking says, keep on doing your nitya naimetik karma, exhaust all your papas and punyas, and then you will gain moksha. This is one argument for gaining moksha. Though through karma, the simple argument of the Purva Mimamsakas. The two set of karma, nitya karma and naimetik karma, are called duties. The Purva Mimamsaka argues that because they are duties, there is no result for you when you do them. If you do your duty, you don't get any result. This is how Purva Pakshi is thinking. They are arguing on the point. There is no result for you when you do them. Your nitya and naimetik karmas. In other words, they do not produce punyas. And when you do not do these karmas, the omission attracts papa to you. This is the crux of Purva Mimamsaka's argument. How can one attract papa by not doing an action? An example is given when a person bathes, no one notices because it is common activity. No one says, oh, you seem to have taken bath today. But suppose the person does not bathe, his omission is definitely noticed. If not by all, definitely by some. Thus, Purva Mimamsaka's argument is that there are actions to be done, and if these are not done, there is a result. Nitya Naimetik karma do not attract any result when they are done. Only when they are not done do they attract result. Papa. This verse can therefore be seen from this standpoint. For Purva Mimamsaka, the word karmani in the expression karmani akarma yah pasyat means nitya naimetik karmani, in the actions that are to be done daily or occasionally, and akarma refers to the absence of any result, phala abhava. Thus the expression is taken to mean that one who sees a karma, the absence of the result, in a nitya naimetik karma is wise. The person who sees no result in nitya and naimetik karma is a yogi, according to Purva Mimamsakas. Let us understand that there are two. There is Siddhanti and then there is Purva Mimamsakas. The argumenters, they argument according to their knowledge. However, if there is no result to be gained, karma cannot be called a karma at all, because there is no doer. To this, Purva Pakshi says, no, there is a doer. Atma is the karta. Therefore, you cannot nullify the doer. The result alone is not there. And because there is no result, the karma becomes a good akarma. If there is no result, why perform action then? At this point in the argument, and any practical person is going to ask, if there is no result, why should I perform the action? After all, is it not more pleasant to do nothing? To do all these nitya naimetik karmas, it takes a lot of time. If there is no result, surely I need not do them. No, comes the reply, because if you do not do them, you will bring trouble upon yourself. This is what Purva Pakshi says. If you don't do your nitya naimetik karma, there will be a lot of trouble. There are many people who choose to go to heaven only because they are mortally afraid of hell. Not because they are interested in heaven. They are afraid of hell. That is why they think of going to heaven. And if you don't do your nitya naimetik karma, you will go to hell. Hell is being painted so vividly in their mind that naturally they cannot stand to think of having to go there. Even to hear about it makes their blood pressure go up. Therefore, they want to avoid the hell by going to heaven. This kind of heaven-hell discussion is what pushes people into religion. In fact, in the heaven and hell aspect were removed, these religions would topple. There would be no religion if we don't discuss about heaven and hell. When the karma that is to be done by you is not done, you attract papa, and therefore it is to be done according to how some people interpret the karmani akarma. This is how Purva Pakshi, Purva Mimamsaka interprets karmani akarma portion of this verse, and expression akarmani karma is interpreted as not doing an action that is to be done. According to this argument, if the to be done action is not done, a result phala is produced and it becomes karma. Therefore, karma is a karma and a karma is karma. A karma produces phala and karma does not. The one who sees in this way is wise among human beings and has done all that is to be done. Saha buddhimana manusheshu sayukta krit sankarma karat. This is the Purva Mimamsaka's argument, to which Shankaracharya ji responds. So, I hope you have understood what is Purva Mimamsaka's point. Now, Shankaracharya ji's response is, if what you do does not produce result and what you do not do produce result, why do any karma at all? Where is the need to do karma? Thus Shankaracharya ji argues that what is not done does not produce unseen result. Adrashta phala in the form of punya and papa, although there can be drashta phala, same result. The omission of to be done action can produce conflict or worry, which is drashta phala. For example, when you have to write a letter, you do not do it, there may be some conflict. In this way, there can be drashta phala, but no adrashta phala, which is punya and papa, the invisible result that occurs the person who performs the action. We are talking about punya and papa here for a karma that is not done. There can be no papa or punya, and for karma that is done, result cannot be avoided. Karma phala will always be there as long as the karma is there. Even nitya naimetik karma produces result in form of punya. Any to be done action, when it is performed, produces a result, and not doing it produces only drashta phala, seen result, and not papa. When what is to be done is not done, there is always an inner irritation, some sense that you have missed out. Daily meditation, for instance, definitely produces punya. If you do it, of course if however out of laziness or some other reason you do not perform this action, your omission will not produce papa, although it may produce some irritation. You may feel bad that you did not do it. If you did not do it the day before either, you may become sadder. But this is drashta phala, not adrashta phala. Let us see, you go for your walks daily, and out of laziness, or say it was raining today, you didn't go for your walk. So if you have not gone for your walk for a day, this omission won't produce any papa. It may produce some irritation. See, not going for walk may produce irritation to you. You may feel bad. And if you have not gone for 2 continuous days, then you will feel sad. In 1 or 2 days, there is no major problem. But your sadness is drashta phala, not adrashta phala. That sadness is there. That irritation of not going. You won't gain weight if you don't go for 2 days. but you will feel sad, you will feel irritated. That is Drishtaphala. And there is no Papa. You don't gain weight. Same is the case with meditation. If you don't meditate for 2 days, you will feel irritated and sad, but it won't produce any Papa. But you will feel sad. That is Drishtaphala. Not Adrashtaphala. There will be no Adrashtaphala. For an action that is not done, no result can occur. Only for action that is done can be Adrashtaphala, either Punya or Papa. If action is proper, it will attract Punya, and if it is improper, it will attract Papa. Shankaracharya ji argue that if an action that is not done can produce result, then that which does not exist, asat, can produce sat, which exists. To say that non-existent thing can produce an existing thing is like saying that non-existent mother can bear a son. When there is no mother, how will the son come? It contradicts all the meaning of knowledge. Sarva pramana virodha. It is equally contradictory to say that karmas are not done to produce results. You cannot throw a stone and expect that there will be no result. There will be a result, especially if it hits someone. Something must take place, some kind of reaction will be there. Therefore, action without reaction make no sense at all. Again, how can one become a kritsan karma krit? By merely knowledge that performing nitya naimetik karma is equivalent to a karma. The non-performance of nitya naimetik karma is equivalent to karma. Shankaracharya ji raises yet another objection to Purva Mimamsaka's argument. Jnana is being talked about here. Knowledge of karma and akarma, mere knowledge does not produce result. Doing something produces result. How can you say that the person is kritsan karma krit? You can only say he or she is one who knows all the karmas that are to be done and not to be done. Kritsan karma with brahma bhavati, natu kritsan karma krit bhavati. Kritsan karma krit refers to a person of fulfillment, one who has achieved everything, a liberated person, mukta purusha. Krishna makes this point clear not only here but before also, when he says that he would tell Arjuna about actions and inaction, knowing which one is liberated. Tat te karma purva kshami yaja natva mokshasya shubhat. Had there been nothing to be done, Krishna would have used the expression yat kritva, doing which, and not yat jnanatva, knowing which. In analysis, Mimamsa, what has been said before must always be kept in mind. Otherwise, there would be no analysis. When Krishna says, knowing which, he meant knowledge what karma is and what akarma is, which is not an easy as you may think. Karma is not to be taken as merely performing action, nor is a karma to be taken as not doing action. The real nature of karma and akarma is something that is to be understood by you, knowing which you will be released from all punya and papa that is inauspicious. The Purva Mimamsaka says that you have to do karma, but what is said here is What? That by knowing the nature of karma and akarma, you are released from all punya and papa. This is what is meant by vyak, 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 vakyartha vichara, inquiry into the sentence. Vakya artha vichara. The inquiry is done to find out what the sentence means and whether it has any other meaning. If there is another meaning possible, it will reveal a philosophy, a stand. Here a particular stand is analyzed by Shankara and then dismissed as not being what is intended, as not being the meaning of the sentence. Karma for a wise person is burnt by the fire of knowledge. See, karma and akarma. Nature can be understood by knowledge only. You don't have to stop doing karmas. You have to understand that there is no karma, it is akarma. While doing karma, akarma. Understand the doer. There is no karta. In next verse number 19, where Krishna is referring to knowledge alone. Krishna says, karma for wise person is burnt by the fire of knowledge. Referring to the knowledge alone, nothing else. Not doing karma is not taught here at all. Only by knowledge karma is burnt. His description of one who has this knowledge continues in the next verse. Let us see what the verse says. Yasya sarve samrambha kama sankalpa varjitaha jnanagni dangdha karmanam tamahu Panditam Buddha. Yasya sarve samrambha kas sankalpa varjita jnana agni dagdha karmanam tamah ahu panditam buddha. Yasya, for whom, sarve, all, samrambha, undertakings, kama sankalpa varjitaha, free from desires for result and will. Jnana agni dagdha karmanam, those actions are burnt up by the fire of knowledge. For whom? For the people who are free from desire. The result, tam, him, buddha, the sages, panditam, wise, aho, called. The one for whom all undertakings, all the undertakings are free from binding desires and will, those whose actions are burnt by the fire of knowledge, the sages call him wise. The wise person is who has undertaken the knowledge and who does karma free from desires. Desires bind the person. The bondage is gone for him. There is no bondage for the person who has understood the desires, the nature of desires. The person who was earlier described as being able to see inaction in action, and action in action is again praised here. This person understands the nature of karma and akarma. He or she knows that akarma does not mean not doing action. Rather, it is seeing oneself in the very action itself. It is seeing the oneself, understanding the oneself in the very action. As a karta, as a non-doer. This is self-knowledge. This is understanding. This is oneness with Paramatma. When Atma is understood as Paramatma, then there is no karta. Atma is not the karta. The knowledge that makes you free and that makes you sarva karma krit. Sarva karma krit. One who has done everything that is to be done. Sarva karma krit. There is difference between action and activity. That is to be noted here. An activity is an undertaking that implies a number of actions. Various steps that you take. Behind each activity there is a plan, and based on this plan the activity is undertaken for achieving a given purpose. Any given activity meant to produce a given result has a beginning, whether the activity is building a house, cooking, or doing a business. All such undertaking are called samarambha. Samarambha. When a wise person undertake any activity, he or she does so without kama, without any desire. He does business also, but he does not have any desire. There is no kama. And sankalpa, will. There is no will. Kama, desire, is wanting to achieve something for which there is a will, sankalpa. A sankalpa is saying, by doing this, I will achieve this. By doing this business, I will achieve this result. By selling this property, I will gain this amount of money. There is a desire and there is a sankalpa, will. What happens and for whom does it happen when a wise person undertake activity free from kama and sankalpa? See, when it is done by a Purusha with kama, desire, achieving something, with a will, then he achieves a result. But when wise person do it, when a yogi does same thing without kama, without any desire, without any sankalpa, without any will, then what happens? It has already been said that wise person is kritsana karma krit. Since kritsan karma krit means the one for whom everything that has to be done has been done. There is nothing to be done by the person. The person has the vision of Atma. the self as Sat Chit Ananda, and knows that he or she is a karta. This vision being there, the person is limitless, full, purna. How then can there be any activity for a person who has this knowledge? How can he or she talk, walk, see, hear or think? For such a person, everything is over. The will has been used up. It has been fulfilled. And if the will is not there, desire is not there, how then is activity possible for the person? Further, if activity is not possible for the wise person, then anyone who talk does not know the Atma. In fact, this is another contention. Some people think that as long as the person talks about Atma, he or she does not know. But once the person know, he or she does not talk about it. It means before knowing Atma, you can talk about it. And after knowing Atma, you cannot talk about it at all. A very common contention prevalent in certain circles is that one who sees does not talk, and one who talks does not see. This is why in India there are so many mathas and babas and sadhus who do not talk. According to this contention, if you become a jnani, you perform no activity whatsoever. You don't even breathe. Since not breathing means dying, who would want knowledge, jnana, under such circumstances? If I tell you I am going to give you jnana, but the moment you get it, you will die, you will naturally ask, when you will be getting this jnana? I can only tell you that you may get it tomorrow or today, or even at this very moment. After all, being knowledge, it can happen at any time. It also means that at any time you can die, today, tomorrow, or right now. If having heard my response you talk, Swamiji, where will be you in 12 years? I will know that you have decided to live 12 more years. The period of time will vary depending on how old you are now and how much will you want to do. But definitely you will postpone gaining this knowledge. In fact, no one will ever be interested in moksha. That amounts to death, because no one wants to be mortal. Everyone is interested only in being immortal. Even if I say you will die and become immortal, no one will go for it. Everyone wants to live and be immortal at the same time. Want to be living and moksha, free from all bandhans. In fact, if the contention were correct, there would be no teacher. We would have a situation where only those who do not know can perform the activity of teaching, and those who know cannot, because they are kritsan karma krit. Since the person who does not know cannot teach, and the kritsan karma krit also cannot teach, because teaching is an activity, who would teach? Therefore, the meaning of kritsan karma krit is not what is being conveyed here. Kritsan karma krit doesn't mean not doing the activity. Although kritsan karma krit means there is nothing for the person to do, it does not mean that he or she does nothing. Krishna drove the chariot and was teaching Arjuna. Shankaracharya ji wrote a number of commentaries on, and Vyasa wrote any number of books, assuming they knew what they were teaching. They were definitely engaged in activity. Even in terms of talking alone, they were very active. So how can you say a teacher is kritsan karma krit? For a teacher also there is something to do. He or she has to teach. And why does the teacher teach? Does the person teach because he or she is going to get something out of it? If so, then person does not know only when teacher teaches knowing the teacher is me, but I, the Atma, is not the teacher. Does the person really know what he or she is teaching? And if this is clear, why should such a person not teach? If you ask why the person should teach, I will ask, why should he or she not teach? By teaching, the person does not come out of himself or herself. In karma, he or she sees a karma. Whatever you may know about yourself, that self is always there. No one ever comes out of this self. In fact, you are whatever you know about yourself. Therefore, if person knows, I am Sat Chit Ananda and I perform no action, there is no question of any mistake being made. The person always see a karma in any karma. Why then should he or she not teach or do anything else? If the person knows that he is Satchitananda and he performs no action, there is no question of any mistake. He may continue doing his business, he may continue earning money, but then there is no desire. Why then he should not teach or do anything else? Such a person teaches because there is no reason why he or she should not teach. This is the only reason. In fact, if there is someone who wants to listen, to learn, why should the person not teach? There should be no other reason of teaching. Someone wants to learn and therefore someone teaches. There should be nothing more to it than this. Rest we will see tomorrow. We will again take up this small topic of Satchitananda. If the person thinks action is bondage, then action becomes a Satya for that person. This we will see tomorrow. Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnad Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Om Gurubhyo Namaha. Om